everybody's got a morning routine, but most of them are built on that old idea of wishful thinking and motivational quotes. The 4 a.m. cold bath? Really? Today, we're turning your morning into a proven success ritual. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where average mornings come to die. Oh yeah, they just come to die. They go lay in the graveyard over there. And success rituals are born right here in the lab. I'm your host, I'm Keith Bilous, and if you're here for feel-good morning mantras and surprise selfies, there's probably a nice meditation app waiting for you over there. Maybe you want to do that calm or 10% happier thing, but hey, before we dive in, a quick heads up, the show's raw, real, and definitely R-rated. Yes, so got those kids around, put the headphones in, put the earphones in, walk them out of the room. It's time for headphones or a quick timeout, or just put the iPad in front of them. But hey, today we're exposing why your morning routine is bleeding money and how to fix it. Yeah, I'm thinking that you're probably hitting the snooze button. You're wasting minutes here, wasting minutes there, and you're missing out on, as Marty would say, the cash. With us today, Jon Andersen, CMartyFit, and of course our friend the Coach Flynn. And we got a guy from New York today. Joe Fontana is joining us here today, and of course Flynn is here making sure we don't completely derail the entire civilization of this show. And Jimmy just on the back there hitting the buttons, making sure the buttons going, making sure Uncle Keith's sitting hitting the right cameras all the time, which isn't always necessarily the case. And as I said, we've got someone here today who's turned his morning routine into a revenue printing press, Joe Fontana. And I'm telling you guys, this isn't just a wake up and 4 a.m. meditate story. No, that was Tuesday's show. Yeah, Joe's engineered morning systems that build powerhouse teams at Apple and Nissan. Now, he's showing others how to do the same at Buyer Foresight. His secret? Those first 90 minutes. Yeah, just like the first 90 minutes of our show. And hey, Jorie Jensen's back for Protein Break. We're going to continue the conversation about intermittent fasting. And as I said, this is just the warm-up. And today we're taking intermittent fasting from theory to practice. No more beginner stuff. An hour or two kicks off with Morning Lab Reloaded. And of course, we're going to continue with Community Corner at the end of the day. But hey, today is something I got to tell you guys right off the bat. Boom, boom, boom. 2 major announcements. First, no month starts today. Yeah, if you're looking at the calendar, the start of the monthly loop, it's November. If you've been waiting for a sign to eliminate what's holding you back, today's the excuse day to put it out the window. The next 30 days, when you look at the calendar, you're going to be reminded to say no. Oh yeah, your permission slip to say no to saying yes starts today. There's listen, for the next 30 days, me, Anderson, Marty, Flynn are going to keep saying, what are you saying no to? What are you saying no to? Like, what are you saying no to? Because you can't have yes without saying no. Every day, myself, John, Marty, Flynn, we are going to be saying no and checking in every morning with you guys. Hey, there's just no excuses at all. And then secondly, the League of Business Athletes is launching next week, 100 days, 100 hours, one goal, 10 men. 10 men. Yeah, more details coming along the way. All right, let's keep it rolling here. I'm going to move my expressions and attitude and camera over here, Jimmy, and we're going to bring in the crew. We're going to bring up Kristina, Marty, and Johnny. Marty, you got the cash today?
Isn't that the way you say the word cash, not Marty?
That's not Marty, that's you.
Yeah, trying to say that I made it up.
That's mine, man. That's Uncle Keith saying. That's Uncle Keith saying the old cash. But how are you guys today? Marty's wearing the, I think Marty, so Johnny, Kristina, you're going to like what I got now. I'm going to describe Marty. Marty's wearing the oatmeal colored t-shirt today. It looks like it's oatmeal colored. Am I right with that one? Is that?
More heather gray, maybe?
I didn't even know that oatmeal is like isn't that kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it. It wouldn't be a solid color if it was oatmeal.
It's like a dirty white.
Dirty white. There we go.
Dirty white.
Yeah. So that strikes me as that's like the athletic color. Like when you're going to go get a workout, that's the one you put on.
Well, that's why I thought like that oatmeal color, right? So Marty's wearing the dirty white, the oatmeal color t-shirt with less brunches, more crunches on it. Don't shake your head at me, Martin.
What's up with this guy today, man?
And he's got the red headset on. We got Johnny, of course.
We're 6 minutes into the show and you're 0 for 2. You said cash. I said that was my saying. Then you said oatmeal color. I don't know what kind of day we're having, but go ahead, do your thing.
Flinner's in black on black with the white headset, and of course Johnny's in the fuck average t-shirt with his nice red painter's hat on. So, and Jimmy, well, we don't know Jimmy might even be naked for all we know. Jimmy could be sitting behind the board, just sitting there, with just hanging out, doing nothing. Just sitting.
I hope he is, man. Just sitting there in the buck, having fun.
Oh, but I do know this. I know that Jimmy's wife's going to live a year longer after yesterday. Yeah. He's
Is he comfortable with you sharing that information?
Well, listen, he's like, I got to get out of here, man. I'm like, okay. He's like, maybe I got to go make my wife live longer. I'm like, there you go. I'm like, perfect. Listen,
did he really say that?
No, we were joking about it. We were just, my words. I'm like, oh, you got to make your wife live longer. I dropped an ad on LinkedIn yesterday. It was just a big black piece of text, and it said, attention men, have you helped your wife or husband live a day longer today? Courtesy of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Yeah. Nice. So there you go.
The question is, do people understand what that means? That's the question.
No, but that's the point.
But Johnny, that's the point, man. That's the point, because we stand for this public service announcement.
100%, brother. And if they know, that means that they're loyal. If they don't know, they're going to come figure it out.
We're just trying to help humanity. Listen, Elon does it one way. He builds compounds and invites all his people over and creates this David Koresh type environments. We just encourage humanity to help your family live longer. That's all we do, Johnny. That's what we do here, man.
We do a lot of things. That's one of many.
How are you today, Anderson? What's going on here today on the end of the Friday loop, man?
Oh, baby, just going, baby, just going. You
know,
we just got home. I mean, goodness, we're just basically getting home long enough to pack and get out of here again. So life is good, man. It's the spice of life is just keep on going, keep on moving, because you're always crossing over something new's coming to your path. And that's what life's all about. I'm
a little disappointed. Johnny's been back home and he hasn't pulled out the old Cohiba since you've been back here, Johnny. You haven't been puffing. I haven't been seeing any clouds.
I haven't pulled out. They're sitting right here to my right.
Yeah.
As you know, when I was in Mexico, I smoked a lot of cigars, man. So I was like, I got to give myself a little bit of a, if I start getting on the 3 sticks plus a day, okay, I got to step back and kind of let the cigars cycle. If you
there will. There you go. That's awesome. Flynn, how are you today? What's going on with you, Flinner?
I'm good. We got that post-Halloween hangover. The kids were out till 10, and now they're disasters. We did it to ourselves and have no one to blame.
That's it.
Well, that's right. Last night was Halloween, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
Last night was Halloween. Yeah.
I saw an interesting graphic this morning. I should try to find it and just share it with everybody. But I saw an interesting graphic. It's funny how it came out this morning, the day after Halloween. What sugar does to your body. Now, I know we know this, but this graphic would just showed how it gets into your body and how it literally, and John, you know this because you've preached this for 700 years. And Marty, you talk to your clients about this all the time. But just this graphic, you look at it like, oh, yeah, that's it. Just like it's like cocaine coming into all your veins and just causing inflammation. And this graphic was it was like a poisonous graphic. You're like, oh, yeah, there's a good one.
We do it with cigarettes. We put it on the front of cigarettes. So why not?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? And don't quote me on this, but there was some sort of way back when sugar was being started to be mass produced. They actually did studies and they figured out how dangerous it was, and they fucking stashed all the information and started blaming other shit for the health problems that were coming down the pipe. I think it was fat they started blaming. And now we figure out, whatever it is, 40 years, 50 years later, holy shit, it's not the fat, it's the sugar that's giving us all these fucking health problems.
No kidding. Crazy, man. Hey, Tina, I know that Joe was messaging us there on LinkedIn. You want to check if he he's
we see him in the horizontal, but not the vertical. So you just need to open in one other one too, Joe.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Tina. All right, guys, listen, let's keep the show rolling here. Listen, I want to go to this here, Jimmy. Listen, guys. Everyone, this show here is a morning show. It's a morning show for men. It's a morning show to help you guys get your ass going. It's a morning show to help you guys prevent the snooze button. But here's what we think about here. Everyone's obsessed. Kristina, we talk about this all the time. Everyone's obsessed with the morning routine. Marty teases all the time, you're going to go get in the cold bath or you're going to get the hot shower or whatever it is. But here, reading their gratitude journals, doing the sun salutations, following someone else's blueprint for success. Hey, Johnny, that's the way to success, right? Just follow somebody else's. Oh, yeah, just do what they're doing. Oh, just because Mark Wahlberg doing that, I got to do it too. But here's the thing. Here's what nobody's talking about. Your morning isn't broken because you lack discipline. No, it's broken because you're building it backwards. Yeah, you're starting with habits when you should be starting with results. Could you imagine if you flipped the script? Could you imagine if in your head determined you already achieved the result and worked backwards from that? Right? Could you just think about that for a moment? You're copying routines when you should be engineering systems. Jon talks about it all the time. Marty talks about it all the time. Stack habits. Win one habit today, win another habit tomorrow, win another habit the next day. Next thing you know, you got 5 habits stacked and you're winning. You have a result. So stop treating your morning like a checklist. Maybe the checklist gets you to the habit, but start treating it like your competitive advantage. When you wake up and the eyes open, think about the guy who's laying there not opening his eyes. No. Jon, Marty, before we keep rolling with Joe Fontana, throw it to you, Marty. First of all, what's the biggest mistake you see people make in those first 90 minutes of the day? Christopher Martin, boom.
I probably, Kristina, is my mic good?
Yeah, you're good, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably say waking up with negative thoughts. You know, you wake up and you're just looking at what you don't feel like doing, why yesterday was shitty, you feel sleepy. You're just thinking about all the negatives. You know, the coworkers getting on your nerves, wife, husband getting on your nerves, kids getting on your nerves. You're thinking about all the negative shit. So you're just going into the day with negative momentum. And then you have a shitty day. Then you have a shitty week. Then you have a shitty month. And what does a shitty month lead to? A shitty year. And you keep having shitty years. What does that lead to? A shitty life.
Dude,
paying attention, Jon.
I love it, brother. I love it.
But let's lean into that, Marty, right? That one micro negative thought in your brain just spirals, eh? It just spirals and spirals and spirals. So before I throw it to Johnny, Marty, what do you use to stop that brain going crazy on you in the morning if it happens to you? What do you do?
You know, I got a couple things, man. I might drop down, do some push-ups. I'm either going to turn on a motivational podcast or something positive, or kind of what I think it was Kyle yesterday.
Yes.
He said it was either Kyle or somebody before him. They said when they hit the coffee machine, when I hit that Keurig, it just that gets me going. I'm like, let's fucking go, man. We're gonna kill today.
Yes.
So one of those 3 things is gonna get me going. I'm never gonna walk out the house with some negative energy.
I love that. I love that. Good morning, good time. Good to see you here this morning. Good morning, Purple Glitch. Hey, listen, I remind you guys, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends all about the channel. Most importantly, subscribe to it so you can get notified when we drop content. Good time. Good to see you here this morning. Johnny, what would you say to somebody those first 90 minutes, first 90 seconds, eyes open, boom, what's got to happen?
Well, first off, I got to say what Marty said is right on the money. And so what I'm going to say is going to kind of piggyback on that is that people are waking up without the intention, without the plan. They're waking up and kind of wandering. And just like a ship leaving port, if it doesn't have the destination of the next port, it just goes out to sea and wanders around and never makes it anywhere. So don't just accidentally wake up. Wake up with a plan, wake up with some intention, and wake up to freaking crush the day.
Yes. So listen, nation, I'm gonna be vulnerable and offer this right now. I woke up with exactly what Marty and Johnny are talking about. Yeah, true story. I woke up today because today's November 10th in my head. Christina's like, what? No, it is. So here's how my brain works, right? This weekend's already gone. Next Friday is already November 8th. The following Monday, by the time we get to a week from now, is already November 11th. Like that just fucking makes me mental, man. So I went for a run this morning, and as I was running, I was stressing out. I just stared at my feet. Jon, Marty, Kristina. I just stared at them, and I breathed. I focus on my breathing because I hate running. We know I hate running, but I literally, guys, I started the run. Marty, Jon, I was worked up, man. It's November 1st, actually November 11th, and I was kind of caught up in the whole thing. So I got on the treadmill and I started running. And all I did, gentlemen, was I focused on my feet. I just fucking stared in the mirror at my feet in front of me. By the time that run was over, I was like, okay, all right, it's November 1st. I got myself settled. And you know what I did, Marty? I turned that negative energy into a positive opportunity is how I framed it in my brain. So it happened to me, guys. It happened this morning. It absolutely happened this morning. And I had to pause, stare at my feet, create some awareness, and recognize that the stories we tell ourselves, Jon and Marty, what are they? They're just stories we tell ourselves, right? So, and those stories, man, we've heard AJ talk about it, right? Those stories can grab a hold of you and just take fucking control of you, Johnny.
Well, and you know, I got to say, bro, I side with you. Every morning I wake up and I have a battle with getting the negative shit out of my head. Sometimes I win that battle in a few seconds. Sometimes it takes me a few minutes. I hate to say, sometimes it'll take me a few hours. But the bottom line is, for me, my morning routine is all about getting my head in the right space. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Andersen, because I'm the same way, brother. Marty, I know you too, and Flynn. And you know, listen, if we don't share this, Nobody feels comfortable sharing it. Guys, I'm not perfect. Neither is Marty, neither is John, neither is Flynn. We have the same struggles. We started the show to give a safe space to guys like Joe Fontana and everybody else going, oh man, these people are talking my language. I got to have a shitty start to my day. How do I restart it? Come hang out with us. All right, Jimmy, we got Fontana hanging out in the green room. He's patiently waiting. I had coffee with him a couple days ago, Flynn. And I'm like, the first few minutes in our conversation, like, we got to stop talking. He's like, why? I go, because this energy, you got to bring it to the show. So I said to Fontana, there's a circus happening every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's called Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. He's like, I want to be part of that circus. I go, hey, come on in. So Fontana's going to be here in less than a minute. But hey, before that, it's time for the accountability check-in. And I'm just going to tell you guys, look at those first 90 minutes of your day like we just talked about. Ask yourself this question. Are they building your future? Or are they just busy work disguised as progress? Hey, Flynn, we talk about it all the time. Just keep busy. Not making progress. Nope. Pull out your phone. Check your morning screen time. Now check your bank account. You see the connection? Because here's what I know. Your morning routine is either a system for success or it's a system for staying exactly where you are. Listen, we make suggestions and recommendations here on the show. You make the decision. Those emails you're checking first thing, they're someone else's priorities. That's why they sent them to you. That social media scroll, that's someone else's highlight reel. Think about that. No month. It starts today, November 1st. What are you going to eliminate this morning? What are you going to eliminate to get your day? What are you going to eliminate out of your life so you can hit the biggest, most audacious goal in your mind? Listen, December's around the corner. January, that month that everybody's, I got to do my resolutions. It's literally 3 months away. Fuck, man. Get started on your biggest goals now. So what are you finally ready to eliminate? What productive morning habit is actually just noise? What part of your morning is building everyone else's dream instead of yours? Tomorrow's coming. 24 hours from now, the morning's going to be here. Another chance to build momentum, another chance to get it right, and another chance to stop playing small. The question is simple. Will you keep following someone else's blueprint, nation? Or are you ready to empower your own? Here's the thing. It's time to choose. Your choice or their choice. You have the power. All right, there's the accountability check-in. And I'm telling you, if this is hitting different, good. If you don't resonate with this, turn the channel. Go find somebody else's show that'll bore you back to sleep, that'll let you hit the snooze button, that won't hold you accountable. Nope, that's somebody else's show. Your morning needs a reality check, so listen, subscribe, share. Like Good Time joined our show weeks ago, and every single day, Good Time gets up, goes for a walk, and hangs out with us. Send this show to someone who needs some help treating their morning like a business. But Jimmy, center stage is about to hit different today. We got a guy in the green room. We got someone who's turned his morning routine into a revenue engine, and his name is Joe Fontana.
Yo, what's up, brother?
Hello, John. Quick question. Favorite cigar?
Oh, I like it. Right out of the gate, coming with the thunder, baby. Hands down, it's going to be a Cuba Grande. That's an acid, which is in Drew Estates. Yeah, love Very that nice. Shit. You know, and the crazy part about it is that the hardcore smoker would call me, I guess you just put bluntly, call me a pussy, because it's an infused cigar. Well, I don't smoke from a manhood. I smoke what I enjoy. So those of you that have not tried an infused because you think that it's going to make you look weak in the cigar lounge, give it a try. Stop being such a bitch.
No kidding. The infused cigars. Yeah, so I've had the infused cannabis joints before, but I tend to not because my lungs get too crazy with the infused stuff. I just like to smoke the good flower. But hey, listen, we've got Joe hanging out with us today, and this is not, nation, another just how I became successful story. No. This conversation with Joe today is about engineering your morning for actual results. The guy wore his sunglasses to the show today. He knows about results. See,
it's because I had a flower break earlier myself. I don't understand anybody else.
I love it.
See, while most people are building vision boards, Joey's out crushing flour first thing in the morning. Joe's built systems that powered teams at Apple and Nissan, and Joe Fontana is crushing it. Now he's helping others do the same at Buyer Foresight. We hung out a couple days ago for coffee, and I left that call just ramping with energy here. He just doesn't spot opportunities. Joe creates them. Joe, welcome to the lab, man. And you are in Jersey. And Joe, I got a question to ask every single guest. We're going to set the tune, man. Set the tone. What is Joe Fontana's morning routine to start the day? Maybe there's not one, but what is your routine, brother?
So my routine starts the night before. Yes. So every good day starts with the mindset you put into it. So as I put my head down, I am manifesting my day. This is what I expect the first hour to look like. This is what the second hour is going to look like. I'm manifesting all of the good things. As the bad things come in, I'm crushing them, kicking them in the fucking dick. I'm also at that point meditating through how rejuvenated and how restored this sleep is going to make me. How the moment I open my eyes, regardless of the time of day it is, I'm going to be ready to fucking go. It's 100 miles an hour, or I'm not getting out of bed until I'm at 100 miles an hour. And then regardless of the time of day it is, when my eyes open, that's it. The day starts. A lot of times I'll ask Alexa what time it is in the hopes of turning over. But my wife taught me this great little trick from a well-known author, Mel Robbins, called the 5-second rule. So when you have a decision to make, especially in the first 30 seconds in the morning, do I want to get out of bed?
Yes.
Do I want to snooze? You got a 5-second countdown. Get the fuck up or just stay in bed until, like John said, until you're ready to go. Because I got my own demons. Everybody does. You wake up angry. You wake up with rage. I do every morning, no matter how I present or prepare myself for the day before. And I won't get out of bed until the head is straight. And if you need a quick, early in the morning, everything fucking sucks, I need to forget about it and get myself rewired instantly, jump into a freezing cold shower or end your shower 30 seconds ice cold. Your brain's got no choice but to either deal with the stress of that cold water or whatever fucking amalgamation you've created in your head.
You know, I would have to say,
more often than not, you're going to be focused on that water. You're going to turn it off and you're going to be rocked.
Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to interrupt you. My apologies. You know, on that level, I don't, me personally, I don't have the ability to, I'm going to get up. My head's going to be fucked up no matter what time it is. So whether I get up after 2 hours sleep or if I get up after 9 hours sleep because I went to bed early, I get up at the same time every day, knowing that battle is there. And and I'm sharing this with people because if you're the same way, don't sweat it. You learn to manage it quite easily, but you have to put in the work every day. I mean, there's times in my life where I have an alarm goes off, boom. I have a second one that goes off 1 minute later. And that 1 minute later is to remind me, hey, if your mind is going down that negative rabbit hole, stop that shit. Let's pull it out. Let's go to the other hole. Let's go to the positive hole and start thinking about some gratitude. I mean, I can literally at that 1 minute mark, I can think about my daughters. I can think about my wife. I can think about, shit. There's so many things to think about. Next thing you know, my brain's giving me the good shit instead of the cortisol, and I'm moving on the right foot.
So, Joey, go ahead, Marty. Go ahead, buddy.
I was just going to add something quickly. I don't know what the scientific term is or the exact stat, but it's impossible for us to wake up positive. So, like, we all wake up negative. So, like, we're just y'all are just confirming that we're human. So, everything y'all said, you just got to fight it. You got to go against it. So I just want everyone to know that don't expect to wake up in a positive state because we don't either. It's impossible. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Well, it's because the way the brain was designed, it was designed to wake up and look for threats because that's, having it look for threats is what kept us alive way back when a human being, the number one concern was to survive for the day. So if your brain wasn't picking out threats, something was going to eat you for lunch.
Something was probably eating you already.
Yeah.
Joe, for the record, this is an oatmeal T-shirt.
Oh, there you go. Yes, I like that.
Thank you, Joe.
There you go.
I don't know what's up with this guy.
Fontana, so you've mastered the art of bridging sales and marketing, something that many people get wrong. But here's what I'm really curious about. Break down your morning routine pipeline review for us. What numbers do you check first? What patterns are you looking for? What tells you if to what tells you that today is going to be the day of wasting time? Or maybe thirdly, what tells you that, fuck it, I'm going to go smoke a joint, the day's over with?
Well, I wish I could do that. I'm going to smoke a joint, the day's over with. That would be nice. I mean, the key indicators that I look at always start with the calendar. What does the day look like? Yes. Is this a day that I'm tackling meetings with clients? Am I tackling meetings with prospects? My LinkedIn is an open door, so you can slide right into my calendar, and I'm happy to coach and talk to anybody, from a young sales guy that's trying to sharpen his teeth to a marketer that's trying to find a job, or just a sales rep that knows how to come correct when they prospect. So looking at that calendar is going to dictate what that day looks like, as well as the prep work before I left my desk the night before. So when I leave my desk the night before, my first 30, 60, 90 minutes are mapped out. Just I love that. When I open my eyes in the morning. But both are always a work in progress, because you know that there are going to be landmines. You know that there are going to be fires that sprout up, but you never know what exactly they're going to look like until you're seeing them on the horizon.
Yeah. Johnny?
No, I love it. The last thing I do before I go to bed is I look at today, make sure that nothing got missed, and then write out tomorrow. And when I write it out, I write out the things I'm going to do in my morning based on how I'm feeling. And when I wake up, but that first hour, I'm not terribly awake, but the shit that I get done in that first 60 minutes, because it's habit, my body knows how to do this shit without me consciously being there. And so I'm able to get a lot of productivity done in that first 60 minutes, even though mentally you would say I'm not really consciously totally there. So it's a really, really helpful thing what Joe's talking about. When you write this shit down, it manifests in your brain. Your brain processes it, wakes up and knows exactly what to do.
Yes. Hey, Joe, before we flip over to the CMartyFit tip, I got a kind of a fun question for you. We see all these folks getting up saying, got to crush the cold shower, got to crush the cold tub, all these pseudoscience tips, longevity tips here, there, everywhere, life hacks here, there. Joe, in your experience, what's that one thing you see, quote unquote, successful people preaching, but from your point of view, Joe, you just didn't fall off the Apple truck yesterday. It's actually just noise. What would you say is just a bunch of noise? Got to get your shit straight, get it done in the evening. What's something that you observe, Joe, that you're like, really? Come on, man.
I mean, where do you start? I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my social media tool of choice.
Yes.
YouTube is where I go for shits and giggles. Instagram is where I go when my wife wants to show me pictures of kittens. But I lived in LinkedIn. So you got to fucking come correct. So the things I love are the kids that have been doing the job for literally 30 seconds, pontificating on how they're going to change the course of an organization by directly working with the CEO. It's the pretenders out there that get me riled.
Yeah, the ones that made $1 million last night and didn't talk about it.
Yeah, the guys that made $1 million last night. Hey guys, here is a outreach cadence that you can use that's going to generate 35 meetings. It's going to save your job. It's going to generate a shit ton of revenue. And all it takes are these 3 bullshit, really simple steps. Like, come fucking correct with me. We live in a world now where you've got to show you've done your homework, and homework's never been easy and never been fast.
Yeah.
Yep. Unless you're an outlier at it. And to become an outlier at it means you had to have done a shit ton of it. So.
Yeah, I love it, brother.
Are
you walking the walk, or are you just talking the talk, man? I love it, brother.
It's funny. There's a lot of experts don't post on LinkedIn. I don't believe true experts, true outliers, true owners of their craft are spending their day pontificating about it constantly, unless that is how they generate their revenue. So are you really somebody that's doing that, or are you just talking out of your ass because your mouth doesn't know any better? I know what I'm doing. And to be quite honest, the only reason I've never started a business around building sales teams or training salespeople is because I burnt myself out doing it and don't feel like fucking doing it again. But what I notice is a lot of the people that are out there talking about it 24/7 have got mere minutes of experience, and it's just fucking shitty to see. It's so tiring to see.
Well, let's do this. Let's come back and talk about that in the deep dive segment with Joe Fontana joining us here mornings in the lab. But right now, we'll get to CMartyFit tip, fitness advice. I think we're talking biceps, hey Marty, from Christopher Martin. CMartyFit, get after, brother.
Let's get it. All right, like Keith just said, we're talking biceps today. All right, your biceps look good, but this is not the powerhouse, right? This is not the center of your strength. All right. This is a secondary muscle to your back, your shoulders, and your core. All right. That's going to be what drives the strength. So you can keep bicep training efficient, but you got to focus on the compound movements like me and Johnny talk about all the time. Rows, chin-ups, and you hit biceps after that. That's how you're going to build overall strength. But fellas, y'all go to the gym and the first thing you want to do is hit biceps. Even Jon Andersen will tell you that's not the way to do it. All right. They might look good, but it's not going to get you stronger. It's not going to attack your metabolism like the compound movements will. So add a few curls at the end of your workout, but you don't have to overdo it. And you can when you do the compound movements, you can allow your body to pull more weight and put more load onto your muscles. So train for performance and not just looks. That's how you get the gains. So remember that when you're in the gym, focus on compound movements. Sprinkle a little bit of biceps in. Not a little bit of biceps, but sprinkle your bicep workouts in, and that's going to be your fitness tip for today.
Fit tip, Christopher Martin. Fit tip of the day, every single day, 8:30 Eastern time. Fitness advice to get you guys through the day. We're here with Joe Fontana hanging out with us. It's the Sunglass Show today. Keith, Marty, and Joe, and we got John. Who knows the hell John's doing?
Who knows what he's doing exactly?
He's crushing the bidet right now. Is what I'm thinking he's doing. Joe, so we were gonna continue the conversation here with the morning routines and so forth. And I got to be honest, I was gonna head into a conversation around sales and so forth, but I think I want to go here with you if I can. You revealed something to me in our conversation a couple days ago over coffee that you had a personal battle you've overcome.
Yeah,
and that personal battle, I got to think, had an impact on your morning routine. And that personal battle, nation, was Joe is a kidney cancer survivor. And that is fucking awesome.
Nice.
Joe, let's talk about that if we can. You got that diagnosis. You learned about it. Talk about how it impacted the night before the morning, the mindset, how you developed the mental fortitude, my brother, to deal with that news, to grab that news, to daily get up and digest it and do what we just talked about this morning, which is battling that mental thought in your head. You had to do it during that whole process of learning about it, beating it, and now continually living your life through it. Joe, inspire us, my friend.
You know what's funny is that wasn't even really the battle of the year for me. So I treated it like it was a cold. Doctor said that they can take care of it. I need to keep my mindset right. It's actually what helped get me out of an even darker place because I'd lost my mother earlier this year. And I was a mama's boy. I was her favorite. She was mine. And I was in a really dark place because the effect it had on my relationship with my siblings brought me back to an ugly, ugly version of myself. Like, I'm a big believer that as you grow, there are versions of yourself.
Yeah.
As you grow, you try to find that better one. But you can easily revert with bad practices and bad habits to less than favorable versions of yourself. And I reverted back to a scumbag, petulant little bitch that was mad at the world, that raged on everybody, and had abandoned every good habit, every positive thing that I used as an anchor. And finding myself sick was like, okay, now it's time for the reset. So just like I went and did fasting to reset my body, I needed to go back to all of the coping mechanisms and tools that I would use to reset my soul and my brain and my mind and my heart. And that's where the real battle's been. Because I think it's easier to deal with anything physically than over anything emotionally.
Oh, man, you're in the right space for this, man, friend. You keep, I can see Johnny leading in, Marty's leading in, because you are in the right space, Joe Fontana. Johnny, take over, brother.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm a whopping mama's boy. And So I completely understand where you're coming from, and obviously we go through tough challenges, and, I just recently lost my father, and it's like these things that kick us in the dick. We've got to realize real quick, this is a chance for us. I mean, the saying I love to say is, don't let a good tragedy go to waste, because you can take that really, really big kick to the dick and you can turn it into something great. But you got to take all of that emotion, all that energy this is creating, and you got to channel it into being a better you. And I'm not really specifically talking to you, Joe. I'm just talking about how I look at situations like this. With my father passing, I was able to take that and become a better me pretty damn quickly. It was a big step forward, versus the flip side is I could have started playing the poor me, and I could have started, tearing myself down, because that's kind of how we're programmed, so
that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I decided,
Yeah.
you know what? I want to take 4 steps back. You see, and I was able to see that line that I had stepped back from. And it just got to a point where I was like, I am not proud of the person I am. I know better. And it's like you guys say, it's your morning routine, how you prepare for your day, your success. It's all the sum of the decisions that you make. And your body is triggered for the lowest common denominator, for the worst reaction, for the anger, for the laziness, for the rage. And you need to build past that. And that's, to me, what defines real men. The guys that say, I'll take this struggle head on. I'll do what I have to do. I'll break myself down before I build myself up. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Marty?
I mean, on that level, I just got to say one last thing. When a tragedy hits, whether it's a loss of a family member, what it is, you got to remember, as a person, you want to react, and usually reacting is not going to get you what you want. You got to respond. You got to kind of take a deep breath, you take it in, and make a choice on how you need to move from this. When you react, most cases, it's going to be something that's not going to bring you what you want. So just be careful with how that first oomph, is it a reaction or is it a response?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Marty?
I got 2 things to say here. So one, you going through that situation, Joe, of losing your mom, God forbid it happens to anyone else close to you, but now you're prepared to go through that if it happens again. You know how to react to it. You know how to, you won't lose yourself again. You won't become the worst version of yourself again. So that's one positive that comes from it. And then 2, the other positive that comes from it is you sharing that, me, Keith, and John sharing stuff as well. Now people that watch it, they probably learn that from us, and now they can attack their situations with the same mindset and the same energy, because, and not to get controversial, but I feel like nowadays when you have a loss or you have something bad happen to you, now it's accepted to be like, oh yeah, it's okay to become the worst version of yourself. It's okay not to bounce back, like people aren't going to give you that kick in the ass that you probably needed when you became the worst version of yourself. So it's good that you were able to go through that, and now you're able to make someone else better with them hearing that, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
It certainly does. That's the whole point of this, right? It's not only helping yourself, but taking what you learn and helping others.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what strikes me, Joe, when I hear your story, and I think about many in this position, which is those morning hours, be it 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6, whenever somebody's getting up. You've received some life-shattering news, Joe. You wake up, the rest of the house is sleeping. You're alone in your own head. What drives emotion for me is maybe the fear and loneliness that one is feeling in that situation, because it's you. It's only your news, nobody else's news. And I have nothing but respect and curiosity around the emotional fortitude that you're able to talk yourself through your brain from that loneliness to get your day started, to embrace the day. Because every morning you wake up, oh, fuck, I got to do this again. And you know what I'm getting at, Joel? Because we all,
It's, it really boils down to, life is a blessing.
Yeah.
Life is a blessing. You got one more day. This might be the last one. What are you going to make of it?
But that's what I love.
People always say, what are you going to do if this is the last day you live? And it's not about, I'm going to go to Paris or I'm going to do this or that. It's, if I'm going to get struck down by lightning at 8 p.m. tonight, I want it to be a day where I put my love out, love came back to me, and I was just a positive presence. In those dark hours, I try to remind myself of everything I've been through and all the good I've done, because that's all you've got. That's at the end of the day, when you're held accountable, it's how did you carry yourself as a man, and were you a positive impact on the world around you? And that doesn't have to have any type of large scope, but just to the 2 or 3 people you interact with every day.
That to me is the inspiration, though, Joe. Because as I volunteered this morning, I woke up with a kind of a messy brain. Johnny did too, and I wasn't diagnosed with cancer. I just messed up. I woke up with a messy brain. So to hear you put it in perspective, which is, you know what? I don't just have a messy brain. I'm battling, as you put it, Joe. I'm battling my cold right now. You still had to find that mental positivity and that awareness to overcome those mental demons that we battle, right? Because like John and Marty said, we wake up, we're battling something negative, and I get nothing but inspiration for a guy like yourself who wakes up and is like, okay, I'm gonna fucking live the life that I want to live, and as Good Time says, just having real talk and just getting through it. That's inspiring, man. Like, I don't know how you can't be inspired and roll over and hit the snooze button when you're hearing a guy from Joe Fontana. You know what I'm saying, John, Marty? Like just get after the day, right?
I learned it from a buddy of mine. His name was Guido Pinto. And he always smiled. Always smiled.
Yeah.
And somebody came to him one day and said, Guido, why are you always smiling? And his answer was simple, and it was beautiful, and it was elegant. What choice do I have?
Yeah.
You're going to get what you give. If you throw a turd at the universe, that turd's going to come back and hit you right upside the head. So what is it that you want to give love and receive love? Or do you want to give hate and receive hate? Do you want to give turds and receive turds? It's a choice. What are you giving? That's what you're going to receive.
Very, very true.
I think I was just going to say, I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think a lot of people are just entitled to, they think they just supposed to get good energy in return and be a shitty person and put that type of energy out there. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any.
Nope. It's all the energy you put out. And I was faced with a choice. Do I feel sorry for myself and angry? I lost my mom, I'm sick, or do I put myself in the position to get over both? And I did. Well, I like to tell myself that I did, at least the death of my mother. But I know that like you guys said, minute by minute, this minute was better than the one before it. This hour was better. This day is better. This week, this month, this year. That's how it is. There was a movie in the 90s with Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. I can't remember, but he played a psychiatric patient, and everything he would do was baby steps.
He's like baby Bob. His name was Bob. His name was
Bob. What about Bob? What about Bob? There we go.
There it is.
So baby stepping to the door and baby stepping here, and I would use that, like, just I'm baby stepping right out of this particular issue.
Yeah.
There's going to be another one, but this is how I work through this one. This is how I work through the next one. It's
maybe.
It's like even when you're mapping out your day, if you know it's coming, then there's no fear.
You know what I'm taking from your story, Joe? And we haven't used this word at all in the 30 minutes with you today. But what's clear about you and the life you live is you live a life with intention. And that is a difficult word for many people to embrace. And Marty said it. People just think that things just happen by accident. Well, no. Actually, when Joe wakes up with the diagnosis he has a cold, unfortunately cancer, Joel's got a choice to make. Roll over and go back to sleep and just pretend it's not there, or get up, reset, win the day, make the most of himself, and live the day with intention. Am I correct with that, Joe? With what I'm saying? It's about intention, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know what's funny? I wish I could take credit for the steps that I take. And I can't, because every morning laying next to me is my wife. And this is a woman I've known 5 years. When I met her, she had just lost an abusive husband. He had passed away. She was a nanny and living off of the generosity of her family. And she went from there to working in a nursery in the back in storage, to becoming that nursery's buyer, to becoming a brand retail rep. She envisioned the life that she wanted. She intended every day to be better than the next. She never felt sorry for herself. She never sat there and gave me the woe is me. Look at the life that I've had. She never looked in the rear view mirror, because the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield for a reason. And every day has been a progression of the day before it. So when you have that kind of inspiration in front of you, that kind of role model, you can't fucking punk out and be a little bitch and complain for more than a second. Because look who I'm fucking complaining to. I'm gonna complain about my woes to a woman who had fucking $300 to her name when her husband fucking fell dead in her bathroom, and her fucking in-laws told her, get the fuck out of the house you've been renting for 20 years. I don't give a fuck. Oh yeah, I don't care that you got kids in the house with you.
Yeah.
When you live with somebody like that, you better man the fuck up fast. She's more of a man than I'll ever be. That's why she's the husband and I'm the wife. I keep the house clean and do the cooking, and she's the fucking head of the household. I defer to her on everything. So when I'm sitting there with the rage and I see somebody smile through everything all day long, it's all the inspiration I need.
Oh, I love it. All right, coming up next, Joe Fontana's wife, the husband of the show.
She'll be on the next show. I think she's downstairs fighting with a couple of the dogs right now. But
driving inspiration in the Fontana house here. But Joe, I got to tell you, man, your message this morning, your inspiring message is exactly the kind of message I want our audience to hear, especially on a Friday of our morning loop here in our life. Joe Fontana, as we wrap up today with you, appreciate you, brother. Where can people connect with you and learn more about turning their pipeline into a profit center, or just be inspired by a guy like Joe Fontana? Joe.
I don't know if inspired is the word I use, but you could certainly follow me on LinkedIn. Tell a ton of dad jokes. Try to keep it light over there.
Yeah.
There is a book an appointment tab in my calendar, so I'm always happy to chat with anybody over any issues that they're facing. And if I can help, great. If I can steer you in the right direction, great. I'm a big believer in being open to help on LinkedIn. And can't thank you enough for having me today. Sorry for talking like I'm paid by the syllable.
Dude, no, you come back and hang out with us again, man. You come back, bring those sunglasses. You come back, bring your wife. You come back, bring your stories. Most importantly, Joe Fontana, you come back and bring your inspiration, and you bring your real you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your content on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Joe.
I appreciate all your offers today.
Oh, thank you, guys. This was very cathartic.
I
needed this today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You come back and hang out with us again, okay, Joe?
Come back. I got some questions for you, Joe. I need you to come back. I got some questions for you.
Anytime. It's your invite. So throw me on the calendar again. I'm happy to chat anytime.
Let's do that. All right. So listen, guys, you know what's coming up here in a minute. We got Jon Andersen, lifestyle tip. But hey, but first of all, it's November today. Here's your challenge. Say no to winging it with your pipeline. You know what Marty said? If you're winging it, you're eating chicken wings or something like that.
Chicken wings.
That's it. So audit your morning pipeline reviews. You heard Joe, when you go to bed tonight, think of what you're doing tomorrow. Track what you're actually checking first, then restructure it to match what Joe just talked about here on the show. Start with just one day, and then 1 week. Real metrics, no fluff. 1 day, 1 week, 1 year. Let's get after it. Jon Andersen, the lifestyle tip, brother. Let's come stack some habits and give Nation a lifestyle tip to hang on.
Johnny. Get him, Johnny.
Come on, baby. All right, let's talk about how to get ahead faster than the average man. Well, see, here's the deal. Our brains were programmed to seek comfort. So as people, we seek comfort, and we don't even understand we're doing it. And most people have no clue that's the case. So here's the deal. If you want to get ahead faster than the everyday average man, what you got to do is you've got to make difficult decisions. Now, what does that do? That makes you uncomfortable. When you're seeking discomfort, here's the beauty of that. You're going to do the shit you wouldn't do when you're comfortable. So, well, the average man is seeking comfort. You're seeking discomfort, which gives you that motor, which gives you that intention, which gives you that thing that you need to do the shit they won't do. So that being said, really think about this. The average man doesn't understand that he seeks comfort. And as soon as you understand that you may be doing the same thing and you need to seek discomfort and learn to be comfortable in those uncomfortable situations, you will separate yourself from the pack so fast, it will blow your mind. When I discovered this in my early 20s, it was a game changer in all areas of my life. So when I tell you to learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, this is the tip. This is going to get you what you want much, much faster than the than the average man who doesn't understand he's seeking comfort, which is going to keep him from getting what he wants. Rock and roll.
That's it. Don't seek comfort, gentlemen. Don't seek basic. No, get up, get rolling. Seek that discomfort to help move in the right direction. You heard the conversation from Fontana. But hey, at this point in the show, we got the greatest of all time, and it is Jorie Jensen joining us. We're going to level up our conversation around intermittent fasting. Morning, Jorie.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit fatigued, but for a good reason. There were like 12, 13-year-olds hanging out last night. So
I was wondering.
Times.
I was wondering how today was going to go for you today, and I thought today's a great conversation to continue. We started out the week with Jorie was with intermittent fasting. There's people waking up today, crushed a bunch of chocolate and peanut butter, and like, oh, okay. And and I got some people in my DM saying, Keith, I hear your conversations about intermittent fasting, and I get the basics of it, but I don't know how to start. Yeah. Like, do I starve myself for 24 hours? Do I not eat for a week? Do I do the Keith Bilous to pretend I'm fasting, but put the MCT on my coffee fast? Or is it 16-8? like what is it, Jorie? Because you hear all these conflicting.
Yeah.
But how do I start, Jorie? Let's start right there for Nation today. How do you start intermittent fasting?
Well, and I always go back to start with what's your purpose in doing anything.
Yes.
So what are you fasting for?
Yes.
And if it's to, get rid of some things, you can fast some things, right?
Like what?
So I'll give an example. Yeah. I have a client who has been for 1 year, is going to be fasting Lay's potato chips. I'm not saying right? So that to them was one thing that was out of control for them. And for you, it's something that gives you control, gives you purpose, gives you something that you're proud that you've accomplished, right? It might be a give up versus what we totally think of as a fast, but gain something back, control, like, wow, I can do this kind of thing. So maybe it's that. It could be something more like you're trying to, and this is kind of iffy in the research. There's some research that does support it, but you're trying to change up everything metabolic, right? So you want to get into ketosis, which means then you need to fast more than a 16-8 or 24 hours. You need more than a day to really truly get into ketosis. So it depends on what you're trying to get out of the fasting to where you would start. But I would say if you're someone that has struggled with achieving goals in the past, I always say set yourself up for success, not failure. Don't start with the hardest thing. Start with the simplest thing. Maybe it's, from 8 o'clock till, 10 a.m.
Yes.
Is your fast, right? And then again, how successful, unsuccessful, what's your why? What strategies do you need to put in place? Is this right for you? The other piece too, it goes to what's going on in your world. The funny thing is, like my daughter and I, like parents are like, how do you have these conversations with your daughter? She actually still wants to talk with you. We talk about everything. We've talked about anything that you can think of, we've talked about. And last night, her and her friend, she had her best friend stayed over, and they were like, so what are you going to be talking about? And I said, well, we're talking about fasting. And they're like, so what exactly is that? And then we got to the point of like, so why would people do that? And I said,
interesting.
It's the exact same thing, right? And then the coolest part for me was, which made my heart sing, was that both of them were like, well, why not just not have candy every day then?
Johnny, they're watching mom. They're watching mom. They're not listening to mom.
Right. 100%. Our kids don't give a shit what we say. They care what we do.
Right?
Jorie, I love to hear what you're talking about with your daughters, because I had the same with mine. And now, of course, they learned all this information. Of course, they revolted a little bit once they became independent, but then they came right back to realize, oh my God, thank you for raising me this way, because now I understand how to do it when I really want to feel good and be productive.
And they get to decide, right? They get to choosing. It's like what you were talking about in the previous episode, right? Or show coming into this one is choose, decide, get up, make a decision. And same thing, like with my daughter, like she, like me, sweet tooth, like we love our sweets.
Yes.
Sometimes though, when she comes in, she's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, and she's looking around and I kind of know her body language. I'm like, are you looking for, like, because you're hungry, or are you looking for a treat? And she smiles, she goes, a treat. I'm like, absolutely, yes, you can, just not right now. And because we've always had that conversation, it's not a no, not at all today or forever. It's a right now, there's a reason that we're just not going to do that.
So hold on, let's go there. Let's lean into that, because I like this. Because you're saying you're not saying no. You're resetting the boundary. AJ talked about boundaries, John, Marty, Jorie, about not being a bad thing, but you've established a boundary with your daughter, saying, "I love that keyword, not right now." So then the subsequent question is, okay, so then when? Because then are you teaching her that no, we're not eating right now. We're not eating until like 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Is that really the teaching, Jorie, when you're saying not right now?
Yeah, but we've also done the things where it's like, it's your birthday. Sure, you want cake for breakfast. And my clients love that, because they're like, I'm working with a dietitian who lets their kid have their birthday cupcake for breakfast before they go to school. Yeah.
The quick question though, Jorie, is that after?
They are going to have a morning snack. They are going to have lunch, right? So yeah.
But quick question, with that morning cupcake, do you have her eat like some eggs or something before, or do you literally just drop it on an empty stomach?
Yeah.
Wow.
She can decide. Do you need something else? Do you want a cup of milk? We drink milk in our house. Some people don't. That's cool. There's always that offer, but that's an event.
Her day, her choice.
Understanding that this isn't every day. Because she's asked, and I'm like, no, not today. not this.
So really, what you're doing is teaching. It's
not an all or nothing.
No, you're teaching a sustainable life habit. What you're saying to her is that, and I don't think you're framing it as a cheat day. You're framing it as a, hey, this is not something we do every single day, but hey, it's a day you can go have a cupcake to start your day.
It's a moment in the day, right?
A moment, right?
Yeah.
I love this. It's not an
all
day. It's not, I screwed up this morning, or whichever part of your day it might have been. This is the moment. And so whether it was planned or unplanned, it's a moment, and you have the choice within, seconds to decide what the next is going to be. So, and it's the same thing with fasting, right? Like go back to, is this something that you're like, why are you doing it? For most people, it's to, usually for my clientele, it's usually because they're looking for something to help them with weight loss.
Yes.
Looking for the next thing. Yes. And I'm like, anytime that you're going to follow anything consistently, those tiny little consistent changes lead to an outcome. So whether you choose to be fasting or choose to eat more, nutrient dense foods versus just calorie dense foods, that's going to lead to an outcome. Whatever you do most consistently is what's you're going to end up with, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool, Jorie. I like the parenting similarities, because I didn't tell my daughters no either. What I said was, yeah, you can have that, but you need to put something solid in your stomach first.
Sure.
That was our rule. Because in many cases they wouldn't eat what they needed to first, and it was a choice. Like you said, they're like, oh God, if I got to eat 2 hard-boiled eggs before I have them, maybe it's not really that important,
Oh, here we go, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like this morning, the girls got up, and I was like, "Do you want some eggs? Do you want some milk?"
Yes.
And they're like exhausted because yes, they had their feast last night, and they're like, yeah, let's do that.
Ready for some good food.
Some actual food.
What you said, Jorie, is Halloween's over. Now we're back to normal. And I love how you framed out the idea of the moment. This is the moment. Enjoy it. But it's just a moment. It's not your whole life. I love that.
Absolutely. My daughter will catch me and she'll be like, Mom, you're having your treat, but remember, slow down.
Oh, I like that. So daughter holds mom accountable too.
Yeah. So it's again, she's not saying mom don't, because you know your goals. She's saying, Mom, slow down and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And Johnny, it's the same thing Terry says to you, right? Because you said often where you're making a bad decision, and Terry will say, "Honey, you're going down that path, right?"
You know what she says? She says, and this phrase just gets under my skin, but I love her for telling me. She says, "I don't think that's a good idea." God damn it. I don't, that's what the last thing I want to hear right now, but you're so correct. And okay, I'll push it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes the littlest thing, you just need a little, like, it's kind of like snapping your wrist, Keith. You know, you just need that little checkpoint. Okay. God damn it. Yeah. I was really not paying too close attention here. This is kind of silly.
Yeah. Jorie, dropping nuggets again, dude.
I want to add something real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Jorie, I love how you're teaching your daughter that, because there are adults who don't understand this concept. I can't go anywhere. You know, if I go to a little ice cream spot, I might want to try a pizza spot. Sorry, John. I might want to try, you know, every now and then. I live a super disciplined life. I always run into somebody I know, and they trying to put me on Instagram or you can't eat that. I thought you said, and it's like, it's one time. This is a moment, you know. I'm right back to my regular routine Monday. Yeah. And so I just love that you're teaching your daughter that at such a young age.
Well, sometimes I'm not nice though. Like, this is a true story. Years ago, I used to work in long-term care as a clinical dietitian. And they used to always watch, like, what's Jorie gonna eat at lunch today? I got a little bit tired of it, you know. So I came into the lunchroom with not just like a regular chocolate bar, but the king size chocolate bar. And I went in there without a lunch that I left in my office, and I sat there eating the chocolate bar. And it was like silent in the lunchroom. It was silent. But then afterwards I went back and I was like, I need some food. But just like, no, like, let's just normalize humans.
Yes.
We all have other things that we enjoy besides the broccoli and chicken and sweet potatoes.
Yes.
At least I hope so, right? And so it's just figure out what works for you. If fasting is like really exciting, or it's really showing discipline, then just make sure, you know, you're setting yourself up for success. And also, like I said last time, the eyes around you, what are they interpreting out of that?
You know, the flip side of that story, Jorie. So I basically, it wasn't really a break room, but a bunch of us are sitting down to eat the food that we had. And of course, people are whipping out candy bars and Kit Kats and, you know, McDonald's and all sorts of shit. So I literally pulled 5 hard-boiled eggs out with the shells and just started putting them in, chewing them down with the shells one by one.
Of course.
And people are just like, first off, they looked at each other, you know, and then they looked the other way, and then they looked at me like, is he going to swallow? Put the next one in.
You got this. I mean, you just got to have fun in life.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it's all about.
We're hanging out during the protein break. Jorie, can you stick around for 2 minutes here? Okay, Flynn, let's bring Flynn up on stage, Jimmy. We got the brand bite coming up, but Flynn's mom. And Flynn had kids last night, and she had Halloween. And I'm
literally beside me right now.
I'm really curious to hear what Flynn's thinking, hearing Jorie talk about parenting and food, because she's just dropping nuggets this morning. So Flynn, as you're listening to Jorie talk,
it's like I needed you in this exact moment. My child came down and she had her little thing of candy and she's crying and she's going, I want to eat it right now. And I said, you can absolutely eat it, just not right now. And I just repeated verbatim what you said. And I was like, you can go upstairs, you can pick out the one you're going to have later, and then you can think about that when you get excited about it, just not right now. So it was kind of
beautiful.
Yeah, and then she looked at the screen, Jorie, and blamed it on you. See, the lady on the show said you can't eat right now. So
no way. No, I love hearing John and all of his parenting tips. I love Jorie hearing yours as well. My kids are young; they're 5 and 2, and some of these things we haven't been through yet. So it's really great information for me as well.
Well, I'm working with 7-year-olds that have body image issues already, right? So,
I had body image issues. I had disordered eating. So it's constantly a thought in my mind of like, how am I not perpetuating that while also not like making it a deal, because I get stressed that it's going to be a deal. So yeah, it's a constant balance.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what?
That's a series in and of itself, Keith.
Well, I was just going to say, Jorie, I think we set up next week's series, whether it's body issue, whether it's ketosis, a little bit of both. Because, Jorie, you talked for 12 minutes today, dropped just nugget after nugget. I'm like, okay, we could talk about that now. We can talk about that now. And it's just like there's one thing after another here. And it's funny, Jorie, because I see a comment from Lauren here as well saying, you know, it was something along that because they're bet you can't eat just one type things. And Marty, you've met Lauren. She's the same way, Jorie. You know, she'll eat a box of popcorn and people are like, oh, you eat popcorn? Because they don't see that she eats good food 99% of the time. And it's like, yeah, I'm having a moment right now.
Yeah.
Right.
And even labeling, right? They're like, it's not good or bad.
No.
It is what it is, and you decide how to fit that into your world.
Yes.
And that's really important, because otherwise, for some, not everybody, so I'm not like globalizing, but for some people, it creates inward shame.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you just took the words out of my mouth. They look at that and go, oh, well, she eats that. I guess I can too. Well, you know what? You don't do the shit that she does when nobody's looking. So shut up and get to work.
Yeah,
I could keep going, so I won't, but I could. This is great. I love the conversation.
Jorie, I appreciate you every single day you show up on the show. I know that I speak for Marty and John and Kristina. You continue to drop value for us, so I appreciate that. Yes. Quickly, any big plans for the weekend with the kids or the husband? Or you guys gonna crush some food, or what do you got going on this weekend, Jorie?
Well, we're gonna watch our daughter play in a volleyball tournament.
Nice.
Joy.
Oh yeah,
how fun is that? That's amazing times right there.
Yeah,
God, awesome. I miss that stuff. Awesome. I miss that stuff.
And I hope all of you have a great weekend as well. So
you as well.
Have a good
Thanks, Jorie.
Jorie, thanks for hanging out. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the volleyball tournament, and we'll talk Monday. And we gotta go. And I'll text you on some good topics, because we got some good stuff to talk about for sure for next week.
Awesome. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Jorie. Take care.
Bye.
All right, Jorie.
All right, guys, we got Flynn coming up. We're running a few minutes late, but that's okay. Great chat with Jorie, man. Wow, good conversation. Flynn's up with the brown bite, and then we're back within the gym with John and Marty. Get after it, Flinner.
Let's get it. So you can rewrite your story on your own terms. I was labeled a painfully shy, really dumb kid, and I'm building my public brand. How does that even make sense? So let me tell you, it is not easy. And it hasn't been easy. At 12, I had my first psychiatrist and a list of labels that I let define me: speech impediment, learning disability, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, OCD. Those labels shaped how I saw myself, even up until 40 years old. They controlled my confidence, my self-worth, my value, and my story. Even as I built my career, playing university basketball, working in the NBA, co-founding companies, I've struggled to put myself out there as an entrepreneur. So in September 2023, when I faced yet another burnout, I knew that something had to change. I needed to understand the why behind this. I needed to get to the core of my story. So I worked with self-worth coaches, ADHD coaches. I used AI. I reflected on the narratives that I had carried for years. And here's what I learned. The story I had been telling myself: you fucking suck, you're unworthy, you have no value, it wasn't the real story. And now I'm rewriting that story on my terms, not what the label said, not what others expected. I discovered my real story, my unique characteristics, and I'm using that to build a personal brand that feels true and authentic to me. So if you are carrying the labels and the stories that don't serve you, were there for a period of time, but don't need to be there forever, know this: there's no one way to rewrite your story. There's only your way. Yes, it is that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise you, if you take today's brand bite into account, you will be one step closer to entering yours. You got this.
There you go, Kristina Flynn. Daily offering vulnerable thoughts from, I feel like, John, Marty, I feel like we get Flynn's diary when she sits down with the brand bite. I love it. When I write
content, that's genuinely how it is. I write content like I'm writing in my diary to myself.
I love the vulnerability, because people tuning in right now that don't have that kind of courage to have that vulnerability, and when they hear it coming from somebody, it's like, oh, if she's saying it, maybe I'm going to have the courage to say it. And I think that is what this show is all about, right? So, hey, we're back here, Morning Loop Reloaded. A few minutes late this morning because we had some great conversation with Jorie Jensen in the protein break, and I want to go back to that here in a couple minutes with John and Marty and Kristina. First hour is wrapped up. Coming second hour here in the gym with John and Marty coming up here in a few moments. We got Community Corner wrapping up, but the first hour we had Joe Fontana talking. Beats cancer, gets his ass out of bed every single day and owns the day, sets his day up the night before, and so forth. And then we had a great chat with Jorie. Halloween yesterday, and telling her kid telling her kid not right now. I love that teaching, guys. Mm-hmm. Hey?
Nobody wants to be told no.
Yeah.
I don't like when I like to say no, but I don't like to be told no.
Yeah.
And just when I say, and I'm not being a cock when I say like to say no. I mean, I like to say no to clear out the space I need so I can say yes to the things that are important to me. That's what I mean by saying
exactly. No. Well, great segue, Anderson. Great segue, because we are in no month right now, and we are encouraging folks to say no to something so that we can say yes to something a little more important, because there's not enough capacity in our brain to say yes to everything. And if you got a big goal in front of you you're trying to achieve, there's probably some things you're going to have to stop along the way. Right. And I think that's what I really took from Jorie's conversation today, is that, if you're looking to achieve some things, no, and maybe the fasting idea is part of that journey. All right.
There's so many tools that can be used, and it's just a matter of understanding what the goal is and picking the right tools for you.
Yes.
And I think realizing that some tools are going to work in some moments and not in others. Like the toolbox is there for a reason. You pick and you pull from it as you need them.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. All right. So listen, we are in the Morning Loop Reloaded here. I'm gonna keep the show rocking and rolling here. We got In the Gym with Jon and Marty coming up here, and we're gonna flip it over to them in about a minute here. I'm not starting a new topic of conversation right now with a minute left. I'm gonna flip it over to Jon and Marty for In the Gym, and they're gonna get into a chat around the no list: gym habits killing your gains. Guys, you're getting up, you're heading to the gym right now, and I guarantee you're doing a bunch of things that are probably preventing you from having success, and you might not even know it. Right, Marty? You got people coming to you all the time. They're going, "I'm not having success, Marty." You're like, "Well, of course you're not having success, because you're doing this." Right? Like, Marty, how often is somebody saying, "Marty, how come I'm not losing weight, or how come I'm not building muscle?" Well, have you had
every
your protein
3 hours?
Is that yeah? There you go. So let's get to that. Let's go to a no conversation in the gym with Jon and Marty. Marty, let's tee it up, man. No list: gym habits killing your gains. Friday here, Morning in the Lab with Keith and friends here. Let's get into the In the Gym segment. Marty, the no list: gym habits killing your gains.
Let's get it. And anybody in the comments watching, feel free to type in, what are you saying no to for the month of November? And maybe you'll help someone, or maybe you'll give me and Jon an idea. So
let's crack this baby open with just a misunderstanding right now. If you don't understand that your diet is 75% of your equation to success, you need to understand that. So going to the gym and busting your butt, that's great. But if you think that you're going to do that without dialing in your diet and have the success, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. So that's obviously kind of a little bit of a sidestep of what we're talking about, but I think that's got to be established. What do you think?
100%. And your diet, or what you put in your body, directly affects, what you look like. It directly affects your body fat percentage. And when you tell me that diet doesn't matter, I just know that you're not informed on a lot of things. Because if you truly educate yourself, or watch content like me and Jon, allow us to educate you on the benefits of protein, how sugar is detrimental to you, you'll understand how that affects your body. And that leads me to alcohol, right? If you're on a fitness journey, it's best to just not drink it. I mean, there's no debate about it. It's not adding any benefit to you. Right. Mm-hmm. No. Now, if you do it, a moment like Jorie was talking about, that's one thing. But if it's a struggle for you, if that's leading to you gaining weight, if it's leading to you, your inflammation and leading to all types of things, it's best to just cut it out. That's going to kill your gains. It's going to increase your fat storage. It's going to stop your body from building muscle. So I challenge you for the month of November, say no to it. Even with Thanksgiving, say no to it. Anything on that, Jon?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people, they try to kind of question, well, how is alcohol? If they're going to do it, they want to know why. Well, alcohol is poison. It doesn't matter if it's in a beer form, a shot form, whatever you're talking about, there is no alcohol that's not poison. So think of it like this. When your body gets some sort of poisoning, so to speak, even if it's just a little like alcohol, it's a threat. The body's always going to work on the threat before it works on reaching the goal. So what you're doing is you're putting a major distraction in front of your body, moving the direction you want it to move. Very, very simplified version, but now you understand why alcohol will get in your way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to add one, or you want me to add the next one?
Yeah, no, I think the next thing. So obviously we established you got to eat right. Now we're going into the no to alcohol. That's great. As we talk about showing up to the gym, even if you don't have a lot of time, we're still saying show up. So those people that don't have much time, what you got to say no to is your goddamn telephone. Because if you got 30 minutes, you got 30 minutes in the gym, you don't have time to be scrolling. You don't have time to be looking at emails. You got to get in there. You got to focus on what you're doing. Use that 30 minutes for what it's for. And that phone is a guaranteed distraction. If you only got 30 minutes, you need to avoid all types of distractions. And the phone has got to be the biggest one.
I'll say this too. A lot of people underestimate the intensity you can work out at in 30 minutes. And so if you're on your phone, right, if emails are a distraction for 30 minutes, you got to say no to emails, right? And then if you are someone who listens to music like myself, 9 times out of 10, I already know what playlists or what radio or, what podcasts have that ready. So it's go time when you get to the gym. That's a non-negotiable. When you check in your membership or you step in that gym, we're locked in. It's time to go. So that was a good one, John.
Those emails aren't going anywhere. They're going to be there in 30 minutes when you're done. So just remember,
absolutely.
You're not missing something by putting like Marty said, set the music and put that thing in your pocket and zip your pocket. That's a doozy right there.
Oh yeah.
I think another thing that you got to say no to, which kind of it was the first version of the cell phone with distractions in the gym, which is over socialization. Nothing wrong with being nice to people. Nothing wrong with smiling. Nothing wrong with saying hi. But there is something wrong with going to the gym with the idea that you're going to walk around and talk to people and possibly get in the way of the people that do want to actually bust their butts for the 30 minutes they got. So you have to really understand that there's nothing wrong with socializing. I'm not bad mouthing that. I'm just saying that the socialization in the gym kind of before the cell phone, it was kind of out of hand. It was almost like the cell phone is now what over socialization used to be. So if you can put these two at bay, you're going to get a lot done with that time.
Listen, man, you got to realize, especially if you're at a public gym, everybody in there is not going to be as serious as you. And that's okay. Y'all can go in there and bullshit, but I'm not going in there and bullshit, right? So, some of the guys, they want to talk football and all this other shit. No, keep it moving. They might call you an asshole. Be the asshole. Accept it. Embrace being an ass. Call me whatever you want. Mean, whatever. Oh, I'm here to get this work in. Sometimes you might have the arms out, fellas, and the ladies might be trying to flirt. You might have some tattoos on the biceps like me. Say no to the ladies. All right, keep it moving. But like I said earlier, when you step in that gym, it's time to lock in. All right, don't let anything distract you because, that intensity, if you get 5 intense days, what's that going to do? How's that going to affect your fitness goal? It's going to affect it positively, right? But if you have 3 intense days and 2 shitty days, you're probably not going to get the same results in that week. Would you agree with that, John?
Yeah. And going back to what you're saying, if someone gets bent out of shape because you want to work and they want to talk, well, guess what? They're talking smack. You're on the right track. So just remember, going against the grain, unfortunately, is going to help you get more of what you want because most people, unfortunately, are kind of going with the flow, and the flow is comfort, and what we need is to get in there and create 30 minutes of discomfort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got another one, or you want me to go ahead and add one?
You get another one.
All right. You got to say no to the all-in mindset, right? Which, yes, you should be all in, but you got to give yourself some rest days. So just because you're doing no for November doesn't mean you go 30 days straight, unless you're doing some active recovery type of stuff. But you don't need to go hard for 30 days because me and John talk about it all the time. You got to get some recovery. You got to rest. Your muscles not going to grow if you don't sit down, if you don't get some rest, all right? So you don't have to go all in, balls to the wall. Yes, work out, high intensity when you're in there. Be serious. Do all your reps. Do all your sets. Get your cardio. Go hard on your meal preps, your nutrition. But you do have to sit down and allow your body to recover, to get those gains, get the results, let the fat burn, whatever your goal is. How you feel about that, John?
100%. And you look at the people that have been doing this, myself is a perfect example, that have been doing this for 4 decades. We embrace the rest. Nobody is going to do this shit every day. And, bottom line is there, even if like you're saying active recovery, that's great. There are some days where you just need to like do nothing. So you got to embrace what the body needs. But the main thing is this, say no to this, because really what happens is people get all piped up and they think, oh my God, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And they go way overboard. They establish a pace that's not possible to maintain. And that's literally a common, I'm going to train every day. It means you're going to just train until you burn out is what you mean. So,
exactly.
So just remember, picking a pace, saying no to doing too much is saying yes to picking a pace that you can maintain, because this is a work over time setup. If you want to play the game and you want to play the people that get what they want have been in the game for a while. You don't play the game for 30 days and get what you want. All you get is whatever, but every other dickweed that thinks he's going to get in shape in 30 days which is a bunch of frustration and a bunch of wasted time, because they realized that they basically didn't realize that it's all about finding that space that works for you, that you can maintain, and start stacking up those gains.
I love it. And I got another one. I kind of want to hear your perspective on this, because I don't think I've heard your perspective on this. No comparing yourself to other people, like on social media. I mean, come on, man. You got people taking the photos of themselves at the best they look the whole year, and they just going to post that throughout the year, and they have you thinking that you're not on point, or you're not your best self because you don't look like the best them, and they're not walking around like that for 12 months. And
it's called the goon light. They find that lighting that makes them look just a certain way, the goon light. Man. So, when you look at first off, let's not even go as far as that. Let's just say when you're looking at somebody else to compare, what you're doing is you're distracting yourself from putting that effort into yourself. The people that get where they want to go, they don't fucking waste their time looking at other people, because when you're looking at somebody else, especially if you're looking to compare, you're wasting your time. So think of it from the perspective of, you have a certain amount of time, you have a certain amount of effort in your loop. Why are you putting that time and that energy on somebody else? Because to get what you want, all of your energy, all of your focus, all of your time needs to be focused on you and your loved ones. If you're sitting there comparing yourself to some dickweed who's created that perfect picture, all you're doing is distracting yourself, number one. And number two, you're basically comparing your reality to their highlight. And it doesn't work that way. You're never, ever going to come out of that situation feeling positive or motivated to keep going.
Yeah, they could have been in the game a lot longer than you, like Johnny just said. You got to put some time into the game. Johnny been doing it for 4 decades. I've been doing it for almost 2 decades. Almost 2. But, you just never know. So focus on you. Make sure you're getting better. Are your progress pictures getting better? Is your scale changing? Are you getting better with your schedule? Are you getting better with your planner? Even focus on the small wins that are really big wins. So, yeah. You want to add another one, John?
Let's get one more. Oh, you want me to add another one? Okay.
I could add either one.
I like it. I would say that what people have to be careful of is say no to the ego, because you get in there.
Oh yeah.
Next thing you know, you're feeling good, and God knows it kind of goes with a comparison. You see the guy across the way doing a certain amount of weight. You go, man, I got to do this too. Next thing you know, you bang yourself up. You can tear a muscle, pull a muscle, who knows, strain something. Guess what? You're not in the game anymore. You just put yourself in the sideline trying to do some dumb shit. So you really got to think about it. Think about it's a long game. Yep. It's work over time. And you want to make sure that you're able to play the game for a length of time without letting that ego have you do a bunch of dumb shit that's going to put you on the sideline.
And then, you mess around and get hurt. Then you come to me, Keith and John, talking about, well, I couldn't do Say No November. I got hurt. So keep that in mind as well.
And keep in mind, if you do get hurt, it just means you work around it. Don't quit.
That's a good one too.
Oh man, I hurt my chest. Well, fuck, there's a lot of other shit you can do. They're just looking for a reason not to continue. So Look for reasons to continue, not for reasons to discontinue your journey.
And hold on, I'm sorry, Keith.
No, great, man. This is great because I'm going to throw myself into this equation with you guys in a second. Go ahead.
And I have experience as a trainer, so I never want to put anyone down. But if there's a situation I've seen, I want to highlight it. I had a client who hurt their ankle, and I told him you can still come in, you can still do upper body, you can do low impact cardio. You can still keep this thing going until your ankle heals.
You can work the other fucking leg.
You can work the other leg. I've been a Division I athlete. I've had some injuries. I've been here a few times. So, that person, they were like, nah, I just want to stop. I'll just come back when the ankle's healed. Never came back. Yep. Gained all the way back plus more. So, that injury, if you don't try to work around it, it can completely throw you off. And then the thought of starting over, that fucks a lot of people up. Just the thought of it. Oh, I got to start back from square one. So be mindful of that. So working through it is big.
The journey doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to continue.
Yeah.
That's a good one, man. I like that.
I like that a lot too. So I got a question for both of you guys, and I'm going to put myself in the shoes of both your potential client right now. And I want to lean into the idea of feelings, Jon and Marty, because we talk about them often. And you guys said something that started the whole conversation that, our bodies are built in the kitchen. They are 75%, 80% is built in the kitchen. Yet, and the other cliche is you can't outrun a bad diet. Yet, Jon, Marty, I'll use myself as an example. Going for that run or going for the lift or going for the cycle unlocks those endorphins, the dopamine, which makes me feel good, which convinces me that I've put the work in and that I'm quote unquote losing weight. I'm using some, because I think a lot of humans think this way, but in reality, that's not what's happening. Teach the audience to say, Bilous, chill out, man. Go sit for an hour. Don't go and chase that feeling, because you should go spend that hour in the kitchen preparing your food. You see what I'm asking, Jon? Teach others that, so don't worry about. Try to find comfort, Keith, in chasing the feeling of enjoying making the ground beef today that you can eat, because that's going to give you more benefit than the endorphins that you're going to go and chase to convince yourself that you're running your fat off. You know what I'm trying to say, Jon?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's a hierarchy to how this shit works.
Yes.
So, perfect example. I really want to train. I want to train. That's
the first
goal. That's the easiest and that's the smallest part of the equation. So I say, look, if you didn't sleep well, you don't get to train. No. And then the second one, if your meals are not prepared, you don't get to train. Go home and fix that shit. So training is something that falls third in line. And if you don't understand that, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. And if I don't inform and try to enforce, I'm doing a huge disservice. So I say, look, if something's going to get sacrificed, the diet or the training, you sacrifice the training every goddamn time.
Marty, that's one thing that I got to be honest with you, as we've gotten to know Jon on our show here, that I've really taken a lot from this part is that, and we know this, but when you get it beat into your head daily, training's third on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Third on the list. It's sleep, food, then train.
So I make it an example that really helps people. So you got two jobs.
Yes.
One job, you're making $100 an hour. The other job, you're making $10 an hour, right? And you can go to the $100 an hour job 8 hours, and you can go to the $10 an hour 2 hours. So what I'm creating is the ratio 80-20, right? Which the diet is the 80. Well, are you going to show up to your job making $10 an hour when you haven't tapped into the 8 hours that you can go make 100? No person on the planet will go to the job where he's making 10 when there's even 1 hour available left at the 100. So you got to understand, going to train when you're not taking care of your meal plan, you're going to that $10 an hour job, leaving the $100 an hour job on the table. It just doesn't make any sense. Where you got to understand, you invest your time where you have the biggest return. So ask yourself, are you leaving hours on the table at the $100 an hour job to go work like a dummy at the $10 an hour job? No, you work all 8 hours, then you go to the $10 an hour job.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It does, Marty.
I got a philosophy too. I had a client. They told me they they were eating all big back stuff during the weekend. They said they're gonna run it off on Monday. And I said, what do you do? What's your degree in?
You can't run far enough.
They say I got a PhD. I said, okay, so you know basic math. So since you know basic math, you need to understand you could eat 300 calories in 30 seconds. And you need to understand that running on the treadmill for whatever, I don't know if you're going to do 2 miles, 3 miles, you're only going to burn a couple hundred calories. You're not burning off that whole weekend. Since you know basic math, you probably ate about 5,000 calories this weekend, and that couple hundred calories on the treadmill, 5,000 minus, let's say 400 or 500, you're still in a surplus. So remember that the calories don't add up. Yeah,
so
no, the
good.
calories.
It's so good when someone says, "Oh, I'm just gonna run it off." My response is, "You can't run far enough. Not possible."
They can't. You'd be running for days, literally.
Yeah, you eat shit. Oh, even Rich would have a hard time running off the weekend.
This is good conversation, though, and I know we got to wrap it up because Johnny's got to get on his way here, and we got Community Corner coming up. But this is good, guys, because and maybe, John, we need to keep talking about this to keep people thinking about it's the mindset. And my point is trying to get somebody comfortable with the feeling of enjoyment in the kitchen or making the food instead of chasing the endorphin rush after the run or after the lift or after the bike ride, right? It's just it's teaching the mind that it's go sit for 30 minutes and make your food and go and journal for 30 minutes. Do that instead. That's what you're saying, John. That's really what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like, look,
it's hard.
You want to go on a fucking road trip and enjoy your, a day on the road, go to the fucking gas station first. You have to fuel before you go on your fucking trip. You want to go and run out of gas and be stuck on the side of the road? Well, fuck, that's the concept. You got to go to the gas station before you go on your road trip. You have to fuel first.
Yeah. But again, Johnny, we think as humans that, okay, I'm going to go to the gym and do my 45 minutes in the gym and I've worked out and I feel better. Now I go look in the mirror and I feel good because my brain says to me, I feel good. I go look in the mirror. That brain says you look good now, even though you might not. You know what I mean? And it tricks you. It's a constant tricking process.
Well, and then when they get a taste of how much better it feels and how much better it works when you do it in the proper order, then you can't unsee it. You can't unring that bell.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we can keep this going nonstop here, but we're going to wrap it up here in the gym segment with Keith, John, Marty, and we're going to bring up producer Flynn here. We're going to do a quick wrap, Jimmy, of the show. And with the first 2 hours with the team here, and then Johnny's going to make his way, and then we're going to go to Community Corner segment and work towards wrapping this baby up. But hey, let's go around the table. Big show today, good show today. Joe Fontana in the comments, you're dropping comments, telling us how much you enjoyed the show, and John, Marty wanted to connect with you guys. But Flynn, what'd you take from today's show before we got to walk out, John and Marty?
Yeah, I mean, I of course, from the perspective of how do you talk to your kids about food and how do you talk to your kids about the realities of this stuff just is, but we all know that person who was never allowed to touch anything, right? Yeah. They grew up, it was all abstain. You get out on your own for the first time and you lose your mind. You eat everything. That's not what I want for my kids. So it's a tough balance, but the insights from Jon and Jorie are always helpful, as well as yourself.
Yeah. Marty, what'd you take from today's show, brother?
Man, Joe, you put me, Joe, and John in a room. We talk all day.
Yep.
Because I had a lot of questions for him just to get his perspective on a lot of things. But Joe was amazing. Yeah. Jorie came in, dropped nuggets, and I love how she included, being a parent and teaching the kid too. And there isn't a lot of, I don't see a lot of content on that. So I thought that was amazing. But great show and great segment with Kristina too. That was always good.
Always good. Yeah,
my favorite part is when you say I'm always in my no fucks era. I say it out loud when you say it.
My no fucks era.
That's my favorite part. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on a tee. Just wait. That'll be what I rock.
Beautiful. Johnny, what'd you take from today's show, brother? I know you're always observing and you're enjoying shit along the way here. What are you taking?
I mean, today was just, it's almost hard to pick out a favorite. It was just this solid, in your face, dropping nuggets in every segment. It was with Joe and with Jorie, it's hard to pick. It's almost like this show is like looking at your kids. It's hard to say which one you love more. You just love them all a little differently. Today was hot.
Yes, I agree. And we got Lauren coming with a comment here. She says to us that if my food isn't on point, I physically can't train. I've learned that if I'm in too much of a deficit filled with poor fuel, I feel awful and it's physically too difficult. So, there's the reality, right? You need to put that fuel in your body to rock and roll forward. To me, the highlight of the show was two things. How Joe, just overcome his journey. Right. And, had the diagnosis of cancer and he's like, fuck it. I got a cold. I'm going to go beat this. Right. And how he, found his wife and and Marty, we talk about roles, right? And Joe's obviously embraced his role. And I was inspired by Joe's story a lot. And I also too took a lot of knowledge from Jorie's conversation about just being parenting and how she taught her kids that it was not right now. And I thought that's a nice way of setting a boundary for our children, right? So a great learning there as well. So, all right, another great week of shows here. Wrapping up here mornings in the lab, and of course another great week of shows starting next Monday with Evan Marks. We're gonna walk Johnny out. Johnny's got a big day ahead of him. He's gonna create content and go and move the needle in John's life today. So, Johnny, you go have a good day, brother. We'll talk to you along the way.
Right on. Great to see everyone. Great week. Can't wait for another show that we just knock out of the park. Let's go. Getting better every time we do it.
I agree, brother.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Awesome. Okay, so Johnny's heading out of here, and Marty's going to stick around for a few minutes with us. We're going to dig into the community corner segment with mornings in the
cut me loose real quick. I got to go real quick.
You got to rock and roll?
No. I got to use the bathroom. I'm coming right back. Yeah. Cut me loose.
You got the Johnny thing going on there, right? Eh? So Jimmy gets get Marty out of here, and we're going to continue with the community corner segment here on the show. I just need to go and find my screen here, which I think it's probably right over here. All right, so community corner. This is where we highlight the people in our circle who aren't just talking about change, they're making it happen. And Flinner, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed our chat earlier this week with Mario Hernandez and Charlie. And, we launched that new community corner segment earlier this week, which I know we're going to do more of. But today we're going to focus on our creator spotlight and a brand strategy expert. I'm just trying to find all my screens here because my screen's a little messed up here. There we go. Thank you. Yes, that's the do-to-do thing. So those that are paying attention, the do-to-do is part when Uncle Keith just can't figure out where the screens are. And if you guys, maybe I'll post a behind the scenes of what it looks like in my lab here a good time so you can see what's trying to figure out. It's funny, Kristina, I had Jimmy saying yesterday, Keith, you can use old phones for cameras. I'm like, Jimmy, I know. And I showed him a picture of my lab here. And I'm like, dude, I got a few cameras here that are my old phones.
Also, what's up, Mamad, in the comments? We see you.
Yes, Mamad, thank you. If you haven't subscribed to the show, I invite you to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. This is a morning show for men. Our role, myself, Tina, John, Marty, we get up to help you guys get up to hit those most audacious goals. And at this point in the show, we do what we call the creator spotlight in our community corner. And today we're going to talk about a brand strategist. Jimmy, I know I'm going to look at the right corner. I'm going to look at the right camera, Jimmy. We're talking about a brand strategy today, a brand strategy expert. This creator combines brand strategy and design to help community-first brands stand out with clarity and purpose. Oh, Tina, a fashion designer. Oh, I love fashion. A fashion designer and entrepreneur with a unique eye for style. Oh, there's a little hint there, Tina. She brings her expertise in fashion to her own brand, blending art and identity. She is a creative storyteller, and she's the host. All right, Tina, I guess we're revealing it here, Marty. She's the host of Sushi Fridays. Yeah, so if today's Friday, if you're listening to the show, there might be some sushi in your forecast. She shares stories on culture, business, and design from diverse creative entrepreneurs to today's creator spotlight.
You'll get there.
Come on, man.
Today's creator spotlight for morning.
Drum roll, Marty. I don't know how to do it.
Drum roll, brother. We've had some more. What is in the lab? Drum roll for today is Andrea P.
Oh, why isn't her picture showing up? Her picture should be there. I get it on my side.
Yeah. So Andrea P. We got the cloudy ghost picture logo of Andrea.
I don't know why. Yeah, weird.
I was just ready to see what she looks like, you know.
So was I. All of a sudden, we got the gray ghost. But anyways,
Yeah.
Right. Wasn't meant to be, y'all. That's okay, because there's substance regardless.
Or maybe it's an opportunity, Flynn, to turn this into something with our guests. But Flynn, why are we celebrating Andrea P for today's Creator Spotlight with Keith and Marty for Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends?
So I've had the pleasure of getting to chat with Andrea online. And one, I love her content. And I love her content. You know, you see yourself in others. I think it's because the way she writes, she's just like, fuck this. Listen, this is what I got to tell you. This is what you got to know about the design space. From anything from like, if you are a designer and you have experienced stress and like unrealistic client expectations, like she's going to talk about it. But she's also she lifts up a lot of other creators. She talks a lot about just the reality of the life that she leads, both being a fashion designer, a graphic designer. Like, how do those
Tim
things
Hortons?
come together and converge? And then I know every American fucking loves seeing a Tim Hortons. And then
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Converge, and then how do they actually how do they differ, and how do they help one another? So I just love the content that she creates. She's out there, she's doing her thing. Sushi Fridays is an awesome podcast you definitely have to check out if you're interested in learning more about other creators. So she's just doing great shit.
Andrea, how do we say her last name, Kristina?
I won't even try to butcher it, so we'll just go with Andrea P.
I will.
Andrea Pasquale.
Yeah, there we go. Andrea Pasquale. We are celebrating you. Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight. Keith and Marty and Kristina, Community
Keep
Corner.
kicking ass.
We do it every single day, Andrea, at 8:30 Eastern time. We take somebody on the LinkedIn platform and celebrate them. And today we're choosing to celebrate you. So, hey,
9:30 Eastern time.
9:30 Eastern time. Yeah. So I have an invite for you, Andrea. If you know somebody in your orbit who you want to celebrate, I invite you to bring them to the lab. Knock on my door, knock on Tina's door, knock on Marty's door and say, hey, I want to celebrate this person. We want to bring him into Mornings in the Lab and have a big celebration. So that is that. And hey, we got a comment here. Ron Retz is joining us in the horizontal feed. Ron, thanks for coming in, pal. I see you here. It says, Keith brought me here. Well, hey, I guess I brought you here. Maybe if I brought you here, maybe you'll stick around and hang out with us. If you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, share it with your friends. And Ron, thanks for joining the show today. And we are working towards wrapping up the conversation today. Myself and Tina are going to go have a quick chat with Marty, Jimmy, and we're going to get the post-production. And then we're going to get through the weekend. We got the highlights package dropping on Sunday. And then, of course, we got Monday, Evan Marks back here on the show, 8 o'clock Eastern time, a full week of shows next week. And of course, it is November, the month of no. And you guys heard us all day today talking about saying no to something so you can say to yes, that is something more important. So, hey, maybe something, Marty, something I want to consider today is don't go to the gym today and go to the kitchen or go to the grocery store, right, Marty? So go buy some good food or choose to go to sleep today instead of going. You see what I'm saying, Marty? So maybe there's a different decision for somebody to make today, right? That they're normally making, eh, Marty?
Yeah, especially if the gym is easy for you. You know, you've been going to the gym for years. You know, try something else to make you better.
Yes, yeah. That's a good point, man, because for many of us, including myself, the gym is the easy thing. And often that's maybe not the right thing. So I like you said.
Nobody really talks about that. That's a good point.
No, so maybe the no month is actually not going to the gym, Kristina, and it's yes to going to the grocery store, right? So maybe it's actually saying, okay, I'm not going to go and train for an hour, Marty. I'm just going to go train for 30, and instead I'm going to go spend an extra 30 buying better food or prepping my food. And maybe that's the shift in mindset, right? Maybe that's something we got to encourage.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
I think we should. That's why we're here.
Exactly. All right, so listen, let's get out of here. On behalf of myself, Kristina, Marty, Jon Andersen, Joe Fontana, producer Jimmy, and everybody throughout the week. Great show of guests all week. And we're going to get out of here, and we're going to go back to work and get on with our day. And we'll see you guys on Monday, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And you guys know the sound. See you guys later.